Currently, Russia has only one carrier, the significantly smaller Admiral Kuznetsov, launched in 1985. Multiple mechanical problems have plagued the ship ever since, and she doesn't go anywhere without an accompanying tug vessel. But there was a logic behind the Ulanovska. James Holmes, a professor of strategy at the U.S. Naval War College, explained that the Soviets wanted to create a defensive blue belt in their offshore waters. Had she ever sailed, the Soviet supercarrier Ulanovska would have been a naval behemoth more than 1,000 feet long, with an 85,000-ton displacement and enough storage to carry an air group of up to 70 fixed and rotary-wing aircraft. With a nuclear-powered engine, and working in conjunction with other Soviet surface warfare vessels and submarines, the supercarrier would have steamed through the oceans with a purpose. Namely, to keep the U.S. Navy away from the motherland's shores. But the Ulanovska is a tantalizing, almost of history. Moscow never finished the project, because it ran out of money. As the Cold War ended, Russia plunged into years of economic hardship that made building new ships impossible. The Ulanovska died in the scrapyards in 1992. But now the Kremlin is spending billions of rubles modernizing its military, and wants a new supercarrier to rival the United States. Recommended, is it time to bring back the battleships? Big goals, bad timing. Builders laid the keel for the Ulanovska in 1988, just as the Soviet Empire began to break apart. The ship was such a large project that builders wouldn't have finished her until the mid-90s. Construction took place at the Black Sea shipyard in Ukraine, often called Nikolaev South Shipyard 444. It's an old facility, dating back to the 18th century when Prince Grigory Potemkin signed orders in 1789 authorizing new docks to repair Russian naval vessels damaged during the Russo-Turkish War. The famous Russian battleship Potemkin, scene of the famous 1905 naval mutiny and the subject of Sergei Eisenstein's classic film, launched from the same shipyard. Early in the Soviet period, the shipyard constructed battleships. During the 60s and 70s, workers built Moskva-class helicopter carriers and Kiev-class carriers at South Shipyard 444. But none of these ships came close to the Ulanovska. Named after Vladimir Lenin's hometown, everything about the supercarrier was huge, even by Russian standards. Recommended, Russia's 5 most dangerous warplanes. Her propulsion system would have comprised 4 Kn-3 nuclear reactors, a model originally used to power enormous Kirov-class battlecruisers, such as the heavy guided missile cruiser fronts. Ulanovska could have easily reached 30 knots while underway. The carrier would have carried at least 44 fighters on board, a combination of Su-33 and MiG-29 attack jets configured for carrier operations. Ulanovska's 2 steam catapults, ski jump and 4 sets of arresting cables would have created a bustling flight deck. The ship's designers planned 3 elevators, each capable of carrying 50 tons, to move aircraft to and from the cavernous hangar deck. Plus, the carrier would have had helicopters for search and rescue work and anti-submarine warfare missions. Recommended, Europe's 5 most lethal weapons of war. The Soviets planned a complement of 3,400 sailors, roughly half of the crew aboard an American Nimitz-class carrier, but sizable compared to other Soviet vessels. Why build it? That the Soviets even wanted a supercarrier was remarkable. The massive ships have never figured significantly in the Soviet or Russian naval inventory. Currently, Russia has only one carrier, the significantly smaller Admiral Kuznetsov, launched in 1985. Multiple mechanical problems have plagued the ship ever since, and she doesn't go anywhere without an accompanying tug vessel. But there was a logic behind the Ulanovska. James Holmes, a professor of strategy at the U.S. Naval War College, explained that the Soviets wanted to create a defensive blue belt in their offshore waters. The blue belt was a combination of land, sea and air power that would work together to thwart U.S. carrier and submarine forces. Russia could defend the homeland while providing safe patrol areas for ballistic missile subs performing nuclear deterrent missions. Those boomers need to disappear for weeks at a time into safe depths, Holmes said. Soviet supercarriers could have helped out with the air and surface warfare components of a blue belt defense, chasing off U.S. Navy task forces that steamed into Eurasian waters. But pride and national honor also prompted the decision to build the Ulanovska. There's also the keeping up with the Joneses aspect to carrier development. Holmes continued, if the U.S. is the world superpower and the USSR wants to keep pace, then Soviet leaders want the same toys to demonstrate that they're keeping pace. It sounds childish, but there are basic human motives at work here. It's not all about the roles and missions carriers execute, he said. It's about national destiny and dignity. Pages.